So Johnny Depp says that he's never hit Amber Heard, never hit any woman in his life. And he took the stand for the first time in his defamation suit against his ex-wife, and soon will resume that testimony. So if you missed it yesterday, Depp called her claims of abuse disturbing and heinous, but testified how things were when the two of them met.
It was as if she was too good to be true. She was attentive, she was loving, she was smart, she was kind, she was funny, she was understanding. So for that year or year and a half, it was amazing.
Let me take you to Los Angeles. Attorney Sara Azari actually also used to live on the floor below Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That's amazing. So yeah, as first, can I ask, as one of their former neighbors, did you ever notice anything was off with the couple? Although let me say, what you notice in the hallways wouldn't be what goes on behind closed doors too.
Of course, Robin. No, I never noticed anything. I have not heard any other neighbors noticing anything. I came close to being a witness, but of course, as an attorney, I don't like being a witness. So dodge that one. But, you know, he was always very calm-mannered, very reserved, very introverted. And just like you saw on the stand, I thought that was very effective in form. You know, it's really hard to reconcile that side of him with the monster and the wife beater that Amber Heard has painted him to be. And so, yeah, no, and there's a lot of witnesses actually who worked in this building who are going to be, they were deposed and they're going to be testifying at this trial about things they did not see, such as bruising on her the day that she claims that they were in a fight and she was bruised. So a lot happened in this building, and that's just, you know, a piece of all of this.
Right now, I'm sorry, my mic was off. What do you think about the line of questioning so far? You know, usually you would have somebody of this caliber not go first, right? You would have them go last in a trial.
Well, yes, perhaps. So he is a plaintiff. There's a lot that has happened that has been said about him, you know, over the course of 6 years, jobs that he's lost, reputation that has been devastated. And I think that the idea here is for him to, right off the bat, set the record straight. You know, he testified about his history, his cycle of abuse, his substance abuse history. And all of this matters because everything that he has said, you know, you might sit there and wonder, why is he talking about his family? You know, why is he talking about his upbringing? It goes to every piece of this case that he has to prove, his burden of proof. You know, the idea that, you know, because he was an addict, because he's a substance abuser, that somehow he's also violent and a wife beater. That just further stigmatizes the disease of addiction, right? And so he's saying, look, I've been using opiates. You know, I'm this mellow guy. I'm not crazy on meth, going around violent and beating people up. He talks about his father and the abuse that he endured at the hands of his mother, and it's almost like drawing a parallel with him and Amber Heard in their marriage. You know, a lot of what he testified to, Robin, also goes to his damages. He has to prove that the jobs that he lost in Hollywood are directly as a result of this 2018 op-ed. So he goes into, you know, that he had these bouts of sobriety when he was working on film. So it wasn't because of his substance abuse. It was really because he was completely disparaged by this article. So everything that he has said has been systematically, you know, sort of strategized by his team, by his attorneys. And I think he was very effective. He was very credible. He was humanized in a way that I think that is vulnerable and that this jury can relate to, and that makes him sympathetic.
Okay, and here he is talking a little bit about how he feels about what he says is her characterization of his drug and alcohol use yesterday. Listen.
I think it was an easy target for her to hit, because once you've trusted somebody for a certain amount of years and you've told them all the secrets of your life, that information then, of course, can be used against you, especially if it's taken to a point that is teetering on impossible.
You know what, Sarah, for our viewers who are going to watch it this morning, because it's supposed to resume at 10 a.m. Eastern, what would you tell them to watch for? What have we not heard just yet from Johnny Depp?
Well, we've only heard him testify on direct, which is the easy part. These are his lawyers asking him questions. He has had an opportunity to think through these answers. He takes a lot of pause. I'm sure he's practiced a lot with his lawyers. So now we're going to see a cross-examination that's probably going to be grueling by Amber Heard's team. You know, I would look at his body language. I would look at his responses. I don't see this guy being tripped up. But, you know, things like you just played back in your footage, you know, the fact that she weaponized substance abuse in this case is pretty disgusting. And I think that the viewers and this jury need to look out for her character, because for 6 years, his character has been on display. And now we're learning that there's this other side to the story, that he may have been a victim of domestic violence, as men are too. It's not just limited to females being the victims. And I think that, you know, it's an opportunity for everybody to think outside of the box and really look at her character on display.
All right,
Through his
Sarah,
testimony.
thank you so much. I appreciate you.